Welcome to Belvoir in the Know, the only podcast created especially for the Fort Belvoir community to help you stay in the know on the go. I'm Command Sergeant Major Greg Kleinholtz, the Garrison Command Sergeant Major.
And I'm Colonel Josh Seagraves, the Garrison Commander. Special guests for this podcast episode are Lieutenant Colonel Pete Armanas, Doctor and Director for Behavioral Health at the Fort Belvoir Community Hospital, and Chaplain Captain Dwight Horn, the new Chief of Belvoir Hospital's Pastoral Care Department. We're pleased to speak with both of them today to discuss the important topic of mental health and wellness and what resources are available to the Fort Belvoir community. So, gentlemen, Dr. Armanas, Chaplain Horn, thank you both for joining us. Would each of you mind telling us a little bit about yourselves? And we'll start with Dr. Armanas. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I am the Director for Behavioral Health here at Fort Belvoir Community Hospital, and I'm also the Installation Director of Psychological Health for Fort Belvoir. During my career, it's been my distinct pleasure to not only do my best to make sure that we have as much behavioral health care and as much high quality behavioral health care available for our beneficiaries, but also to treat our active duty service members and their family in various posts and downrange also.
Yep, absolutely. Obviously, a critical job.
Yeah, and we talked over the last year, sir. So great to have you on here. Chaplain Horn, how about yourself?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the opportunity to be here. My name is Dwight Horn, and I've been in the Navy as a chaplain for about 3 decades now. I previously served with a special task force at the VA, Veterans Administration, on mental health and suicide prevention. Prior to that, I was Deputy Chaplain to the Marine Corps, and I'm now privileged to be here at the hospital.
Awesome. Yeah, once again, gentlemen, thanks for joining us today at perhaps a critical time in our, not just our sort of nation's history with respect to the pandemic, but also there are mental health resources popping up all over the place. So it's critically important for the Fort Belvoir community to make sure everyone knows sort of what's available and what our specialists can provide. So as we continue to navigate the long-term challenges that COVID and the pandemic have presented, obviously it's absolutely essential that we prioritize our physical health and wellness. But really, obviously, at this point, and more importantly, for us to focus on our resilience through strong mental health and wellness, which is critical during this phase of the pandemic, and just kind of where we're at really with world affairs. So I'd like to go over to Dr. Armanas first and just talk about what are your top suggestions to maintain strong mental health and wellness, especially during times of added stress like the pandemic?
You know, sir, during times of stress and especially during this pandemic, the most important thing is to both maintain existing social connections and try to build new ones. It's been very challenging for everyone in the pandemic with this sense of forced isolation, and it's going to be really important emerging from that pandemic to not allow that to continue and to make conscious efforts to re-engage and redevelop those social connections. And I'll also add, thank you, sir, for mentioning physical fitness. The mind is connected to the body. And so it's incredibly important to exercise, eat healthy, and limit your consumption of alcohol. If you take care of your body, your brain is an organ in your body, and you're going to feel better mentally too.
Yeah, boy, Dr. Armanas, I'll tell you, Nicole left over at the Wellness Center. Be really proud to hear you say that right now. So well done.
Yeah, and as we always emphasize to our people to check on our colleagues and how they're doing, which gives us sometimes a rare chance to socialize and connect these days. But it does give us a sense of belonging. So, Chaplain Horn, how do you suggest we add spiritual resilience to how we cope? And when we ask those, we care about how they're doing.
Spirituality is such a critical topic for us to focus on. It often does get left out in the issue of mental health. Physical health. We tend to focus on it more. But spirituality is that sense of who we are and the deeper understanding of self. And without a deep sense of self, we really lack connectedness to this world. And that's where the problems begin. We can lose our moral discretion through that. But it's through a strong sense of identity, a strong sense of our conscious awareness that we're able to connect with others and find satisfaction and happiness in life. It really does begin in relationship with others. And it's important for others to begin reaching out and ensure that we're trying to care for those around us just by asking the simple question of how someone is doing. That begins the conversation to help care for somebody spiritually. Beyond that, I would say chaplains are a critical resource for us to get at the questions of spirituality, because we have spent a lot of time thinking about what it is to have a spiritual life. And so we become great connections for people. Certainly adding the 100% confidentiality is an opportunity for people to come and say anything to us so that we can care for them.
Yeah, and I think those 4 words are powerful. How are you doing? And then having the skills to listen to them can go a long way. And then providing the resources and the professionals from there on really can, help us out as we continue to navigate this situation.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point, Sergeant Major. Never miss an opportunity to ask someone how they're doing or how their day's going. Could be a critical point in someone's day and could make a real difference just with a simple question.
Yeah.
So similar to making doctor's appointments when we aren't feeling well, we should reach out for appointments on mental wellness. And I know that's been like a point of friction, but my personal message to our own formations is just that. And so can you talk about a little bit, Dr. Armanas, just quick resources that are available that you might recommend for someone struggling with mental wellness?
Yes, sir. So here at the hospital, for our active duty service members, adult outpatient behavioral health is here to provide you with care. For the rest of our community, and also our active duty service members, I wanted to highlight a few resources. So first off, the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. Call that number if you're in crisis. Second off, we also have the military family life counselors, as well as the military one source. Those are open for active duty service members and their families. It doesn't go in your medical record, and you can get non-medical counseling there. So I encourage everyone to take advantage of those resources. I wonder, Chaplain Horn, if you had any recommendations in terms of spiritual health resources here.
Yeah, thank you so much for asking. There's a critical point for me to make here. When we think of resources for mental health, we often think of the experts, but studies have shown the most significant spiritual help can come from you, the people listening. Each one of you has the potential to reach out to somebody around you and ask how they are doing. And that, as studies have shown, becomes a vital link for that person to open up and get help. So I encourage all of you to do so.
Yeah, that's good, because you can't underestimate. I want to stress it again. You just cannot underestimate the powers of talking to people. And you may say something or do something where you think it's insignificant, but it may be so significant to that individual who is struggling. So, and I like to say that, all of us have things going in our lives. And, when I'm, feeling down and out, I like to either, I'm at the golf course, or I like to go out to the lake, or, get into my car and go for a ride. And, there's different ways I use to relieve stress. And one of the most, for me, I'm like an open book sometimes. I'll tell anyone just about anything, just because I want that feedback and get it and to be able to socialize. So, Chaplain Horn, how do you suggest that we have a balance of spirituality, physical health, and wellness, or anything else?
That's good. I think that if we would spend as much time on spiritual reflection, on who we are, what makes us who we are, as we did on our physical health, we would be in good shape. And so I encourage people to really spend some time thinking about that. Additionally, I would say that while you're physically preparing your body, use that time as well to listen to a podcast that brings you into a deeper sense of understanding of who you are, or focus on verses or something like that, because you can do both at the same time. That's what I would say.
No, that's really good.
Yeah, great tip, Chaplain. Appreciate it. So wrapping up here, is there anything else, since we're with Chaplain Horn, anything else you want to share with the audience?
Yeah, I would just like to say I'm thankful for this opportunity, and I really want to encourage our listeners to use the resources that are available to you. particularly your chaplains, we again have 100% confidentiality. You can say anything to us, and we're here to support you. We're not here to make you us. We're here to get you to the resources that you need to get care for yourself. So use us at this time. Call us. We have 24/7 coverage as well. So we encourage you to use the resources available to you, as well as the resources available at the hospital.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So we'll have the support services quick reference card posted with this episode. So over to Dr. Armanas, same question. Anything else you want to share with the audience?
Yes, sir. I just want to remind everyone that mental health is multifactorial. So all those support services that are listed on that quick reference card, they are all part of the bigger picture of improving your mental health. And for mental health, just like physical health, it's important that we set aside time and stick to a strict schedule. Work is important for your mental health. Play and recreation is important for your mental health, and social activities are important for your mental health. So being deliberate about making sure you have the right balance between those and pretty much picking yourself up by your bootstraps and going out and sticking to that schedule is probably the best thing that you can do for your mental health.
Yep. Great. That's a great tip. Yeah. Stay engaged, right? Don't get isolated. Yep. Awesome. Thanks to both gentlemen. So we've come to the end of another great and very important episode of our podcast. Once again, thanks for joining us today. Sergeant Major, any final thoughts?
Yes, sir. So from my experience, in helping soldiers throughout my career, that first step is always the hardest step, and this is from leaders, this is from peers and subordinates. So if you feel like you need additional help, please seek guidance from a professional like a chaplain or a doctor, counselor, a therapist, any one of them. They can give us resilience and coping skills based on the ever-changing situation in our lives, and it help us all stay fit mentally, physically, and spiritually. So if you need some help, please reach out.
Yep, that's great. Great wrap up, Sergeant Major. Thank you. So for our audience, as we always end with, please don't forget to download the digital Garrison app and make Fort Belvoir your installation of choice. Yes, we still get credit for that. So that's a shameless plug. Help us out, get some more credit, download, make Fort Belvoir your installation of choice. Connect with us on our website and our social media platforms. If you haven't gotten vaccinated against COVID-19 or you skipped your booster, please reconsider vaccination and or your booster. And finally, be there for each other. Check on each other. Check on your fellow service members. Check on your friends and family. Reach out to someone you haven't talked to in a while and just see how they're doing. No specific purpose. Just reach out and check on them and just see how they're doing. Thanks for joining us, Fort Belvoir. From me to you, and now you know.